All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter, how we doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Had a decent weekend. Unfortunately, I had the kids all weekend, and my middle child had been sick all week. She was fine, but then my oldest and youngest got sick, so spent the whole weekend at the house just dealing with that. And then today woke up not feeling the greatest, but I'm powering through. So, got some things done, got everything ready for the show, and here we are. So I apologize if like my voice goes out randomly or if I don't sound 100%. I'm dealing with it, but I'm here. How about you, man? How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Got some work done. Got some things caught up on. Can't really complain. Just doing it. Nothing too crazy. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just getting ready for this week. The transfer portal has been crazy. All the
Crazy, bro.
news.
It's crazy. There's all kinds of people entering the portal, leaving their teams, and doing all kinds of stuff. And we'll dive into a lot of that today because that's major news. A few people entering the portal that we said would enter the portal, a few people entering the portal that are a little bit of a surprise. And then obviously it's game week, baby. Like we're back. College football is back. We had to deal with, obviously we had Army Navy last weekend, which was phenomenal. It was a fun game. Navy went out and took care of business. I mean, they dominated Army. And so got to watch that. But this week, we're back to real big-time college football. Obviously, we got Notre Dame, Indiana on Friday night, 8 p.m. in South Bend, Indiana. Going to be phenomenal. We'll break all that down throughout the week. And then, obviously, Saturday, the next three playoff games, culminating with Ohio State and Tennessee Saturday night at the Horseshoe. So a lot going on, man. A lot to talk about. College football. This is fun, man. A first year 12-team playoff. This is a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, phenomenal matchups. There's a couple I'd had rather seen, but we're not gonna rehash that. It is what it is. But
you don't even have to see them, man. Like Boise State's not even playing this weekend. Get over it.
So we got that. It's gonna be a blast. I can't put into words how awesome this 12-team playoff is going to be. We have college football now all the way through January, and it's, going to shrink the time to get to spring football. We're going to have that rolling around the corner. We're going to have, all kinds of content coming your way. And it is a great time to be a college football fan. But with that being said, everybody hit the like and subscribe button and help us blow this thing up. We're getting some tremendous growth. We're really starting to get things moving here. So if you can hit that like and subscribe button and come on over from Twitter, get in the chat. We're always open to answering questions. But with that being said, let's get the show rolling.
Absolutely, man. And if you're on YouTube, like the episode. That helps a ton. If you can like the episode, just give it a little quick like. If you don't like it, don't like it. I mean, whatever. But across social media today, so obviously went through and looked over everything the past few days. I saw an interview by Spencer Danielson at Boise State. And I would love to play the interview for you guys. Unfortunately, I think it would lead to copyright issues, so I couldn't download the video the way I normally do. But Danielson, who's Boise State's head coach, obviously they're preparing to either play SMU or Penn State in the second round of the playoffs I think that's on New Year's Eve. And he's dealing with transfer portal. Apparently, according to him, at least 13 players on his roster have been illegally recruited by other schools. What are your thoughts on that? And he said at least. It's probably more.
Okay, this is just my take on the transfer portal. Some universities have been using the transfer portal to their advantage. The transfer portal is great as long as it's working for you. When it stops working for you, that's the problem. What we have here is we've got issues with this, when you're a smaller school like a Boise State and you're now thrust into the national spotlight, everybody's watching, and tampering is going on.
Absolutely.
And if you're not going to call out who's tampering, then there's no point in talking about it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a unwritten rule or like an agreement amongst coaches that like you can say tampering's going on, but you don't call out who's tampering just because, like, let's be honest, everybody's probably doing it. So like Spencer Danielson can't go out there and be like, motherfucking Prime is in here trying to steal my guys. And then Prime's going to be like, motherfucker, you were talking to my guy last week. Like, it goes both ways. So it's probably going both ways. And that's why nobody's going to call anybody out. And it's just, you got to understand coaching, man. There is a brotherhood to coaching college football. And you don't go against the brotherhood, because if you do, you get blackballed pretty easily. It's not hard. It's pretty simple. And so you can say that these people are being illegally contacted, and that is what it is. But, well, this is an interesting topic. Agents can contact the NIL. That's legal. But I don't know how many players are relying on, like, I don't think any player is committing to a school or agreeing to go to a school without talking to coaches on staff. Like, when you get those players that enter the portal with a no contact tag, it's like, oh, that's because you've already been in contact with the school you want to go to.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that I'm entering the portal with a no contact tag because my agent said Notre Dame's going to offer you money. No, I want to talk to Marcus before I agree to go there. Like, I want to talk to the coaches.
Well, that sometimes that does happen in certain instances, and also you could sign with a couple of schools.
Yeah,
that also happened with Ole Miss, Mississippi State. That is, I'd be interested to
also call out the players that are being illegally recruited. I want to know who.
Yeah.
What, time to wake up, Duke?
No.
I'm just messing with you. I know what it was. You were smoking a chicken, and it was probably a timer.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. But it could be. I don't know. I'd have to go back because, like, Riley Leonard is the one that I look at. I don't think Notre Dame recruited Riley Leonard out of high school, if I remember correctly, but he entered the portal with a no contact tag knowing he was going to Notre Dame. And I find that hard to believe without any experience with the coaching staff. I'd have to look at it. I mean, some of them they are, like Julian Sain when he transferred to Ohio State. Ohio State was number 2 in his recruiting. He was down to Ohio State and Alabama, chose Alabama. So when he entered the portal, easy flip, right? So it just depends on the player. Go
ahead. Zach here with the sit out the year. Okay, like, my thing is on that, if I think that you should get one transfer at the Division I at the Division I level. Just one.
That's an interesting. Yeah, no, I think you get one free transfer.
And then
right? After that, you have to sit out. Which is the way it was for like 0.5 seconds.
And the one thing I'll add to that is that
unless your coach leaves.
Coach leaves or you graduate.
Oh, yeah, grad transfers should never have to sit out.
Because if you graduate from the school, like I think Devin Brown's going to graduate.
Bro, maybe that'd be early, but yeah, he might.
But let's just say in a perfect
Joe Burrow, for instance.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow graduated from Ohio State and then transferred to LSU. He shouldn't have to sit out a year. Yeah. I agree.
Graduate.
Because you came to your school. You were there long enough to earn a degree. If you didn't play, it's not on you. I mean, it is. You weren't good enough for whatever reason, but at the same time, like you accomplished what you went there for, as far as academics. So don't sit out a year. I can agree with that. That would be wild. If you take a new job. It's a little different, but that'd be a crazy thing. Like, all right, you can take that other job, but you have to sit out a year. But But does the job have to pay you for that year? Because I'm all in then. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll take a new job every year. Sit out every year, just as long as I get paid.
I mean, the best profession to be in is a fired football coach.
Well,
that's the best job in the world. Not for the coach that gets fired, but I'm just saying.
No, for the coach that gets fired, it is.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to make a point. I mean, we're gonna dive into this a little later in the show, but for the people that are out there that want to play Monday morning quarterback that watch our show, a couple days ago, I'm just saying when we put something on the thumbnail and we talk about something, it's because it's relevant and there's smoke there typically. We don't normally go with something on the thumbnail that's a bunch of bullshit. It's a legitimate question because I was thumbing through some things about the Air Noland thing, and it's not fair to the kid, but sometimes you got to use some nuance and logic, and let's sit down and think about it. And he's in the transfer portal, so.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get too much into it. Obviously, we put that up about a month ago. Obviously, we didn't know he was going to enter the transfer portal for sure, but there was enough smoke to talk about it at the time. Now, were we right in that instance? Yes. Are there going to be times where we're wrong? Yes, absolutely. We are not batting 1,000. Like, that just doesn't happen. But typically, when we make the graphics, when we choose topics, we try to make it relevant stuff that has at least some legs to it. But that's neither here nor there. I don't care. You commented after the episode, or you felt we were wrong at the time, and I would love if we were, but we weren't in that specific instance. But in other news, Mike Norvell, he's obviously not going to be fired at Florida State, but he did something very interesting. He decided it's the giving season, Duke. It is the time of year where you give back to your university, you give back to the people around you, and he's giving back big. He's giving back $4.5 million.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is probably they need it for the staff pool, because I would say that is. Well, when you fire your offensive defensive coordinator, you got to come up with money somewhere, and I believe donor fatigue is real. You got rev share.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yep.
You got rev share coming. It's gonna be a sticky situation.
So 100% ZD's right here. And no, it was not out of the goodness of his heart. I think this is exactly what happened at Michigan back in 2020, I think it was.
Yeah.
When they went to Harbaugh and said, "Hey, we can fire you. You'll make good money, or we can cut your salary in half and you can keep your job." And he cut his salary in half. I think the same thing. Hey, listen, whatever that was isn't what we paid you damn near $10 million for, or $9 million, whatever he makes. So whatever that was, you need to give us back some money, because we gotta reallocate those funds to get this thing back on the right track. And we could fire you. We'd have to pay a big buyout. It's not going to be fun for us. It's not going to be fun for you. Or you can give us back a little bit of money, and we can reallocate those funds, give them to the NIL, do what we need to do with that money to try to get that back on track and keep your job. And I think at the end of the day, he said, yeah, definitely a closed door meeting, leave or take a haircut for sure. And so the question is, does Mike Norvell go full Jim Harbaugh? Does he find himself a Connor Stallions and make 3 straight playoffs and win a natty? Because that's what happened in Michigan when he had to take a haircut.
I think that when it comes to the Norvell thing, there is a tremendous amount of heat all over that program right now. DJU declared for the draft today. I seen somebody put a graphic out for that.
Which is hilarious. My buddy Snaps, who you know a little bit, he posted it and he goes, and just so everybody's aware, I'm also declaring for the NFL draft or something like that. Like, yeah, cool, man. Declare for the draft. I don't think anybody wants you.
I don't know if he'll get drafted, but I think he'll get a camp invite.
Oh, he'll definitely be an undrafted free agent or something like that. But I think that was another like this. I think that was a closed door meeting with DJU that said, "Hey, you can stay in college football, but it's not going to be here."
I think I don't know, because Cam Ward declared last year, and then he came back. He ended up going to Miami, so I don't know.
Well, but he declared differently, didn't he? Didn't he say like he entered the transfer portal and declared at the same time and said he was going to see which one was his better option?
Yeah, Dave's here makes a makes a good point. Nothing makes a person do a better job than paying them less. Well, yeah. Well,
sometimes
here's another side of this Florida State.
Duke loves Disney. All right, he loves Disney. Him and Elks hang out at Disney all the time.
This is not a Lion King hat.
But anyways, continue.
But the Norvell thing is very perplexing to me, because I feel like it's getting to a point to where, we're on the, we're on a collision course for the iceberg, and we've got to, like, you have to do something. And I think firing Alex Atkins was a bad decision, because Mike was calling the plays.
Yeah, but I can tell you how that conversation goes. AD comes in and says, "Hey, we need to make changes. And if you don't make changes, I will." And so what does he do? He fires his coordinators. They come back. They finish the season like shit. And AD goes, "Hey, thank you for making the changes, but now you're also going to have to pay us back some of the money we paid you." That's how that goes. And if you're Mike Norvell, what do? Stand up for your guy and say, "No, you're going to have to fire me." All right, cool. You're gone. Now your guy's out of a job and you are.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was a lot of finger pointing going on the in the meeting room, and I think the guys that got let go. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You have. Mike Gundy did the same thing, but at least he waited until after the season. But
yeah, well, if they come to you during the season and say make changes now or you're gone.
But look at the decommitment list, though.
Yeah, well, okay, then you can go back to the AD and CC. This is why I didn't want to.
No, it's. I think you're in a catch.
It's a mess down there. It's a mess down there. That's what it is. And he has 1 year to get it right.
Is he flying in the territory of we're sending this thing like circa 2015 or what was that 2017? Who was there? Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart, yeah.
The guy that
I don't think you're in Willie Taggart territory, because Willie Taggart never had any success. At least Norvell had some success.
But see, this is the thing I guess I don't follow Florida State close enough. It seems like they get a coach post Bobby Bowden. They get a coach. He has relatively little success, or more success than what the previous guy had, and then they're ready to run him out of town.
I don't think that's true. So if you look at like post Bobby Bowden, they obviously hired Jimbo Fisher, right? Jimbo won a natty. That's the highest level of success you can achieve. And then Jimbo shit the bed for 4 years or something like that after that. got rid of him. They bring in Willie Taggart or whoever. I forget the exact order. Willie Taggart never had any level of success. He was a terrible hire from day one.
Mm-hmm.
They've had rough hires since then. They bring in Mike Norvell. First year goes well. Second year, I believe was last year, goes 13-0. I mean, absolutely excellent year by all standards. Obviously, this year, huge disappointment. But they haven't had, since Jimbo Fisher, they haven't had a coach that's had the level of success that Norvell had last year. So I understand giving them another year to figure it out. But I don't think it's quite that bad there. But it definitely they aren't Florida yet. What's up, Sid?
So,
but they aren't Florida yet, where they keep hiring terrible coaches.
Easy on the Gators, okay?
I hear you. I'm just saying, Florida since Urban has been a shit show.
But here's the thing, we're gonna keep it rolling, and we'll reset the show, and then we'll keep going. But one of the big things is with the Florida thing is that I think we identified Florida has the Florida problem. Does Florida State have the Florida problem?
What do you mean? What's the Florida problem?
Well,
they just have so much talent to pick from. Like
no, it's just the fact that I don't know. Bill Parcells said this quote is something that, I think is something to live by. If you start listening to the fans as a coach, you're going to be sitting with them.
There you go.
I don't think that
I don't think that's a Florida problem. I think that's an everywhere problem.
Well, I mean, coming into the season, somebody, also obviously made a snarky comment about the Florida State was what they were supposed to be, because I even watched Zach Smith break the analytic numbers down before the season. Everything on paper said that they were going to be good. Obviously, there's a continuity issue in the locker room, and Mike Norvell absolutely cratered.
Yeah, he shit the bed hard.
But that's almost, there's one program every year that absolutely craters. But I think
not necessarily to this level, but yeah, I agree.
But I just think that the biggest thing's going to be is how does he come back and how does he respond is the big thing. So, but with that being said, if you're watching out there on Twitter, we got Dave, we got Joe, we got Sid, we got Zach all in here throwing up some good questions. Hit the like and subscribe button. It help us grow this show.
Yep. This one's good right here. Who cares? It's a mess at every school right now. I mean, playoff teams have kids walking into the head coach office demanding money, or they're out and they're in the fucking playoff. I agree, ZD. It's a mess. And we'll get into that in a little bit. That's why you have so many college head coaches looking for other jobs, in my opinion. I think Jeff Hafley is a great example of that. He loved college football in the past, and he had a job that he enjoyed at Boston College, but he just knew that there was no support there to succeed. So he took a DC job at the Packers.
I don't know. Bill O'Brien did pretty good there this year.
Yeah, I think Jeff Hafley would have done just fine. He didn't get fired. He left.
Yeah, I think Hafley kind of took the temperature on the college thing and didn't want to do it.
He doesn't want to do it. It's the same thing Chip Kelly did leaving UCLA. He doesn't want to do the head coach job. That's what it is. Sid, any hope we get regulations? Yes, there is hope. Not in the next 2 to 3 years, though. I think it'll be regulated eventually. It's going to take a lot.
What are you talking, like, as far as transfer portal or NIL?
All of it.
I think it's going to be the NIL stuff is not going to.
Regulated eventually.
You can't put. This is the same conversation I had with some people that I talked to behind the scenes. They said, "Well, they're going to have a salary cap." No, they're not, because no one agreed to it. That's the problem.
No. The only way you get to the regulations is you get the players unionized. You get a collective bargaining agreement in place. That's the only way you get regulation.
And no institution is going for that.
because they are not giving them pensions, and they're not doing
right.
it.
Well, I'm telling you, eventually it'll happen.
I don't.
The players will unionize. That's going to happen.
I just don't know how you get. 15,000 people on the same page. Because if I am a 5-star, why do I want to put myself in the box to where I could make the same as the guy that's the 3rd-string tackle?
Because you wouldn't make the same. Like the star quarterback in the NFL doesn't make the same as a practice squad player. Like, what are you talking about?
Because I wouldn't want an NHL model. It's like with the jersey revenue. Do you know they all get the same check, right?
Based off how many jerseys they sell, yes.
No, they all get the same check.
That's not true at all.
It's one flat check.
No, it's not. I promise you, Patrick Mahomes does not get the same check as fucking Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
I'm not talking about the NFL. I'm talking about NHL. Because
who the fuck is looking at the NHL as a business model?
But I'm just saying, because the revenue that they're going to probably pay some of these kids fits more into the box with the NHL than it does the NFL.
But here's all you need to know. The NCAA college football makes more money than every other sports league not named the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to be fighting with the same dollars that the NHLer gets. And they're not, obviously, NBA's dollars are a lot bigger in contracts because there's a lot fewer players. But no, I think you're going to get much more of an NFL model. Eventually, it'll be regulated. I think the transfer portal is the easiest to regulate, and that's what they will do first. They have to regulate that in some way. It just is a mess. And that can get into we'll get into it in a minute.
And also let's Zach talks about the elephant in the room, but let's everybody just remember there's this thing called Title IX that exists.
Uh-huh.
So let's
well, in all likelihood, Title IX will still exist. The NCAA will either get an exemption or college football will be split off from the NCAA and create its own league.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing that's going to happen, and I hate to break it to you, I guess, is that a lot of those players that wouldn't sign up for it and things like that, they're going to go to a different league. Like, you're going to have a separate league for top tier college football. And exactly, it won't be college football. College football, as you know, ZD, is dead, and it's going to be dead here in the next probably 5 to 10 years. It's done. You're going to get the SEC, the Big Ten, and a few other programs that break off and form their own thing. There will be an academic component that goes into that to keep associations with colleges, but outside of that, it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, and Dave here makes a good point. The NCAA doesn't get to choose.
The NCAA won't be a part of it.
Yeah, and
the NCAA already has no financial interest in college football, really. Like, college football is so separate from the NCAA already.
Oh yeah, I would agree with Joe's comment here. Yeah, the NCAA is scared because it's not feasible, and that's why there's no regulations on the NIL or the transfer portal, because there are some schools that have big dollars and big money that are saying you leave the transfer portal the way it is.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The other thing with that, it'll get regulated one of two ways. Either with actual regulations, or the free market will dictate the regulations. Mm-hmm. And that will happen sooner than later, because I can promise you schools are going to get real tired of paying $20 million a year for a roster and not winning a fucking thing, which is what Ohio State's looking at, which is what Michigan did, which is what a lot of schools did. That's not going to continue. Eventually, boosters are going to be like, yeah, my money is actually not well spent here. Let's do. And so it'll get regulated one way or another. It depends on how.
Yeah, and the last thing I got on it is, and because I've been through an organizing campaign with the union. It's different from state to state, and there are some states that are just gonna hold up and say we're not doing this. And I think I have a good idea where those states are at, and I think that's what is one of the things. I'm not disagreeing and saying that they don't need all this stuff. I'm just saying the wheels and the legs for it to sprout and for it to stand on is going to be the problem. And you have Title IX, that's a huge thing that no one is even remotely talking about. And you have the problem with the transfer portal trying to regulate it a little bit. If you're somebody that balls out at, let's just say, Louisiana Monroe, and an SEC school wants to offer you a big NIL deal, well, then you're hurting their market value. So it's going to be it's a
legal mess. It's a legal mess, and that's why it's going to take a lot to do it. But it's going to be, I think 50% is probably high, Dave. But yeah, 1.6% of college players go to the league. Teams that put, I don't think 50%. I don't think any team puts 50% in. That's probably high, but there are teams that put a higher percentage in. Right, like if you go to an Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, something like that, you have a much higher percentage chance of making the league than if you go to Ball State, right? And no, disrespect to Ball State. That's just the first one that came to head. Sorry.
Yeah. But, Devonta Smith.
Yeah, Devonta Smith, not the receiver, by the way. Devonta also went to Alabama. Devonta Smith enters the portal, and he commits to the Irish, baby. I think this is a big get. I don't know about you. I don't know what you think, but he was a good player, highly recruited player, obviously. Played a lot of snaps, was a good nickel corner. I think that's a big get for Notre Dame. What do you think?
I think it's a big get. The only thing that I look at is I think there's some internal things moving at Alabama to where they're fixing some issues, and
could be.
And I think that the kids on the roster committed to Nick Saban.
Yeah,
and I think that
a lot of those kids left.
I think that when you have the kids that came for a coach and that coach left, and I think that they're trying to find their own way. And I think if you look at the defensive development by the kids that have gone to Notre Dame, especially in the secondary, you're having big names. You're probably how many guys are gonna get drafted
out of that secondary this year? At least 2.
Yeah.
You're getting Benjamin Morrison's a projected first, maybe late second because of the energy, or maybe early second because of the injury. Xavier Watts is going to be a day 1 pick. And then you have young kids that are also going to be drafted eventually, like Andon Schuler, the safety. He's probably going to be drafted later in his career. I mean, the secondary development is great at Notre Dame, and it has been for a long time. Look at Kyle Hamilton, things like that.
That's funny. I hate to
Bob Davie. Oof, God. Yeah, but this one I didn't want to get to. Most of us wanted to see kids get paid because universities were reaping the benefits from big TV money. NCAA didn't jump on it, what should be allowed, and now we are where we are. 100%. The NCAA could have spearheaded this 20, 30 years ago and put something in place to pay the players a long time ago, and a lot of this would have been avoided. However, they decided, they wanted to keep reaping the benefits with the conferences and the universities, and so they kicked the ball down, or kicked the can as long as they could, and now they are dealing with the ramifications of their decision. That's why the NCAA is a joke of an organization. They have actually no power over college football, and they continue to find that out in court every time they go to court. And that's why we have NIL, and that's why we have the transfer portal the way it is. If they would have done anything about it, 20, 30 years ago, maybe it's a different landscape, but they waited until the very last second, and now here we are.
Yeah, I think the the TV revenue is going to, I think, skyrocket in the next couple of years. I mean, they almost did a 20 burger for the Georgia-Texas game, and I think the 12-team playoff is going to engage people that normally wouldn't watch, especially in the state of Indiana. There's a lot of people that don't follow college football that are.
But you told me those schools shouldn't be in because the TV numbers are going to be so bad.
Indiana, Notre Dame's going to draw a number.
Yeah, well, anybody with Notre Dame's going to draw a number.
I think that
you don't think Penn State, Boise State will draw a number?
We're not doing this. We're not doing this today. We're not doing it today.
Sorry, I'm just trying to bait you a little bit.
Cam Newton agrees with me.
Oh, fuck you. Why the fuck do I care what Cam Newton thinks? He also thinks a kid shouldn't be allowed to wear number 2 because he wore it once.
I don't disagree with him on that entirely.
Is it retired?
He won a Heisman Trophy, but
I don't give a fuck. So did Troy Smith. Do you think Denzel Burke had to ask Troy Smith to wear 10?
But Ohio State's ran different than Auburn. Ohio State has, 7 Heisman trophies? 7?
Oh, I get it. Yeah. It just means more down there.
No, it's not that it means more, but I think that even at Colorado to where Rashawn Salam's number, they were up until he tragically passed away. They had to ask him.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the number will be interesting. I don't disagree with you. I think OSU probably does pull a bigger number. Being Ohio State, Tennessee versus Notre Dame, Indiana, you're going to get 2 big fan bases versus 1. But at the same time, I think Notre Dame's going to pull a huge number because it's the only game that day. And Friday night normally pulls big numbers. But his fucking name is Deuce, Duke. His name is number 2. But anyways, in other news, Mike Vick, how about this? Is this Coach Prime 2.0? Mike Vick allegedly, I saw he was in conversations with Norfolk State to be the head coach, and then shortly after, Sacramento State released that they're in conversations. So he's got a little bit of a bidding war now, and Mike Vick could be heading to the coaching ranks. What do you think about that?
Mike Vick is a very, very, I would say not anymore, controversial figure. I think that
killing dogs is pretty controversial.
I think that, for Mike Vick to get a chance, he's paid his debt. I think that
I'm going to disagree with you on that, but yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, if the universities want to hire him, I just have a problem with people that kill animals. Like, personally, that's something that you can't come back from for me. Just my personal opinion. I think that killing animals and children is something that's completely, you can't recover from that because, for one, they're defenseless, right? There's no way that an animal can protect itself from a person like that. Same with kids. And so if you harm children and animals, I don't think you should ever be given an opportunity to come back from that. That's just my opinion. He obviously went to prison, did his time, came back, had another NFL career, has been in broadcasting. He seems reformed. He's done a lot for the animal community since what happened. So I'm not going to sit here and say that people can't change, but yeah, Teddy Bridgewater. Now that's somebody that I think that story is awesome. Him winning the state championship at his high school in the state of Florida after what happened to him in Minnesota with the catastrophic non-contact injury. He came back and played in the league after it, and it wasn't quite the same as Alex Smith, but it was up there with it, and that was really cool. But Sacramento State, did you see the numbers they're talking about at Sacramento State? They have, that's one thing that I think with the NIL, it equals out the playing the playing field because they have a big donor base and they also have a big it's like UCF. They have a huge alumni base.
Yeah. Yeah, so allegedly they told Vick that they're moving to FBS, so they will be in the power whatever, not power 4 obviously, but they have allegedly $50 million in NIL for him.
I mean, that's a war chest.
Yeah, I mean that would be insane.
And and you really don't have to leave the state of California to even compete. And I think that you're going to see Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota, and South Dakota State all make the jump.
Yeah. If Sacramento State can get lumped into that and they have $50 million in NIL, I mean that's money to go create a roster that can compete.
Yeah. I mean, that's where Scatterboo's from.
Scatterboo.
Yeah, so
the old skater bro.
Yeah, and we'll keep it moving. But for everybody watching out there on Twitter, come on over. We got a ton of people in the chat tonight.
Sorry.
We got a lot of things going on here, some of the news topics of the day. But if you can, come on over, ask some questions, and hit the like and subscribe button. So what's going on at Penn State?
Well, Bo Prabula has decided to enter the transfer portal. This comes as the news comes out that Drew Aller is going to be returning for another season. Obviously, he's not going to enter the NFL draft. I thought there was a chance he might just because of how weak this quarterback class is. But then you look at next year's and it's just as weak, so why not come back? But on top of that, he's leaving the team and he's not going to stick around for the playoffs.
Is this going to be a Rutgers kid, Greg Schiano?
It could be. I could see that. My thing with him is like he plays. Like he doesn't play in like a passing fashion, but he's their wildcat guy. I mean, they use Singletary and Tyler Warren a little bit as well, but this is actually somebody that could like Devin Brown entering the portal for Ohio State is similar, but Devin Brown doesn't really play. And also Devin Brown is staying with the program through the playoffs. But this kid, and he said, like, in his statement, he was like, unfortunately, the calendar and the way it lines up, like, it made me make an impossible decision, which is true. I mean, he has to enter the portal now. And for him to get a leg up next year, he has to leave the program now. And James Franklin was asked about it, and he blatantly just said, we got problems in college football. The way the calendar is set up right now is absolutely a problem. How do you fix it?
I think you just go to one portal window to after spring football.
But that puts those kids at such a disadvantage.
Well, if you leave after spring, you would have what? Camp starts in what? The July? So
late July.
Late July. So you'd have 3 weeks in July, or a whole month of June.
No, you wouldn't be there in June.
But I mean, if you transferred and went to another school, I don't like the fact that the portal is open during the playoffs.
Yeah, but the thing is, in order to give kids the opportunity to join their team and to play in spring football, which is when most roster decisions are made, you have to do it now because they have to enroll in classes in January. They can't. I mean, I don't know exactly. Julian Sane was like the very last minute. Like you had to enroll because you can enroll. I think it's up to 3 weeks after the semester starts, and Julian Sane was right at that 3-week mark. But if you enroll any later than that, you can't enroll in that semester, so you can't be eligible. Yeah, and expanding the playoffs, they're going to have to expand it earlier. It is such a mess, and that's what we're talking about, where this is all coming to a head because they keep trying to expand the moneymaker, which is more big games, right? Like that's how you make money, but they are completely ignoring the other side of this. And I think what you do, if it was up to me, what you do is you either push everybody back to week 0. So week 0 is actually week 1. You have the conference championship game Thanksgiving weekend. And then the first round of the playoffs is maybe the next week or 2 weeks after that. And then you pump it out, and you get the champion crowned by middle of January.
Well, what they've done is they've taken the NFL model.
Yeah, but that doesn't work. The NFL doesn't have classes that they have to be enrolled in.
When it comes to the TV schedule and classes and the transfer portal, they don't give a shit about none of that.
Well, but you can see how it's becoming a problem because they don't.
The only person that cares is the coaches. Because if
the coaches and the players.
If that kid's going to enter the portal, he's gone.
Yeah, but don't you think Penn State would like to have him for the playoffs?
Well, convince him to stay.
But you can't.
But
he has to do this.
But here's the other thing. It's the same for everybody.
Well, I understand that, but it's not fair to the kids. That's the moral of the story. Like, this kid had a chance to go on a playoff run and be a contributing factor. Like, he plays in most games as a Wildcat quarterback. And if, God forbid, Drew Aller goes down, he would be the starting quarterback.
Well, but see, that's the side of the coin. It's how bad do you want to enter the portal? Do you want to stay and be a backup?
No.
Well, then, happy trails. Hey, life's all about tough decisions. You got to make a tough decision.
Yeah, but when both the school and the player want to make the same decision, but they can't, isn't that a problem?
No, that's a cake and eat it too. Hey, I'm going to leave, guys, but it'd be cool if I could hang out for the playoff run, and then I'll leave.
Well, if the school's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Why can't he do that?
I think that they've put the portal where they put it to make people make decisions. That's I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying it's the same across the board.
Yeah, I mean, what?
This is.
But that's not true. Devin Brown is doing it.
I don't know how that's going to work unless he's going to be in the second spring window.
No, he's in this portal. He's in the portal right now.
But doesn't he have to enroll in classes?
Yeah. I mean, if they go on a run, he might have to make a decision. I don't know how that works. But he's enrolled. He's enrolled at Ohio State. He's in the portal, and he's with the team. So you can do it. It just Devin Brown, I think, feels highly enough about what he has and where he's going to go that he doesn't feel the need to get there super early. Whereas this Bo Pribula probably feels the need to get there right away. I don't know. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense.
I think that when it comes down to it, some coaches don't go for that. But that's what,
No, and I think it depends on the kid. Devin Brown has made the decision to stick with Ohio State every chance he's gotten. Mm-hmm. He could have transferred last year. He probably should have transferred last year. He has shown loyalty to the program, and Ryan Day respects that, I think, and the program respects that. And the kids in the locker room respect Devin Brown. I don't know anything about Bo Pribula and how he's viewed in the locker room or what he's done or anything like that, other than I know that he's been a contributing factor to their offense this year. But Devin Brown's proven that he's loyal to Ohio State. It's just he was told this year, same thing he was told last year. We're going to go add a transfer quarterback. You're going to compete with Julian Sane and transfer quarterback X for the starting position. And Devin said, listen, I've done this 2 years in a row. I'm not doing it again.
But also there's another side of the coin. Look at Jaden Mickey. As soon as he told Marcus Freeman he was entering the transfer portal, he was in the stands. I can't say –
and that's a different situation. But I agree with what Marcus did. Like, as much as we feel for Jaden Mickey and what he's going through, I believe he lost a parent or something like that, or his mom got sick and everything like that. So I understood why he left. But at the same time, that's mid-season. At that point, like, listen, we love you. We appreciate you. Go do what you need to do for your family. But we got to move together as a team. And if you're not going to contribute to the team, you can't be here.
It's that's one thing because, with the Devin Brown situation, what happens in the event that he's got to play? Then what do you do?
Then he balls out.
And let's say, he's been ouchy and he gets hurt again.
I think you have to know the kid. He's not worried about that. I think if you just know Devin, I don't think that's in his mind. And if it is, you shouldn't be there.
I think if I'm that new school, I think I have a major issue. That's because technically he doesn't belong to you anymore. He's part of our team.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how it all works. I'm just saying the calendar is a fucking problem.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but also I think at some point, you know,
yeah, he could also come back from the portal. Like he can enter the portal and come back. That's true. And let's say they don't go out. And this brings us to our next topic, because I think this maybe changes things for Devin Brown a little bit.
Yeah,
So Air Noland is the second quarterback on the roster to enter the portal for Ohio State. He obviously he came in highly recruited, and then Nick Saban left Alabama, and Julian Sain came in, and it was the same class. They went through spring ball, they went through fall camp, everything like that. Julian Sain was, from all accounts, ahead of him. So I'm not shocked at all to learn he was leaving. Actually, a month ago, we talked about it and said he might or probably would. But does this change anything for Devin Brown?
Well, I don't know if it does, but, you know, when it comes to the quarterback room at Ohio State, ever since Justin Fields left, it's been crowded in there.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's one of the spots that has been overcrowded to a certain extent, as you know, some people would say. I think that, you know, Air Noland is still a young kid. I do take a little bit pleasure in when we put that on the thumbnail. A lot of people just said you're clickbaiting, you're doing this, and this, and I said, okay, let's use some logic here and think about this. You know, the kid's still young. He's got options, because I think that whenever you're looking at the Devin Brown thing, you know, Devin Brown spent 3 years at Ohio State and has barely seen the field. And
yeah,
if you want to play, go somewhere. I mean, if you know you love the program, you know, I understand that. And also, and nobody's talking about the roster limit, so you're going to see more guys enter the portal. Because some of these schools aren't going to opt into having walk-ons. I think they're going to have an option. Some of them aren't.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think CJ Stroud might have something to say, but I think it's interesting that Air Noland enters the portal. I think Air Noland was told to enter the portal, if I'm being honest. I think that they know that they are going to ride with Julian Sain and Tavian St. Clair in the future. They're going to try to bring in a transfer portal quarterback this year to add depth and competition. And so, but I do think this opens it up for why Devin Brown is staying with the team. If Will Howard were to go down and Devin Brown has to play, and Devin Brown goes out and performs, or if Ohio State isn't able to land one of the top portal quarterbacks, and then they're looking at it saying, hey, Devin, you should stay. We need you in this room. You're the guy. Then maybe he stays with the program, because right now they're saying we need to add portal quarterbacks for depth. Well, he's a portal quarterback at this point, and there would be nothing better than to have him in there.
Well, here's a goal that I don't know if we'll have. Like, you know, when CJ took over, there was a quarterback battle.
Yeah, but I think everybody knew who was going to win that.
So CJ was a quarterback. He was a quarterback again. The last couple of years, we're going into August, and who's the quarterback?
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's different. I think that brings up some maybe misses by Ryan Day in recruiting. Some lack of development, some things like that. I mean, since CJ Stroud, everybody he's recruited has really been a miss.
And it's not going to be favorable if, let's say Air Noland goes to another school and balls out like kind of Kyle McCord did. I mean, I get it. He threw a bunch of picks, but
yeah, Kyle McCord, nobody in the room, nobody in the program wants that kid back, even after what he did this year. So nobody thinks he's better than Will Howard. Like, there's not a person in the world that actually believes that.
I don't know. I don't think that.
I don't disagree with you. Oh, it's the wrong one. Damn it. I don't disagree with you. The thing is, in my opinion, J.J. McCarthy was a project. He was a little bit better project than like Lincoln Keenholz, right? Like, he was a 5-star kid, so a little bit better. But if J.J. McCarthy goes into the Ohio State program, I think he gets the same treatment Lincoln Keenholz does and never sees the field.
Yeah, I think program and fit and all of that.
I don't think Kyle McCord ever should have saw the field. So
I'm not like, there was obviously, I mean, there's two sides to every story, and I understand that. I think that you're looking at a $20 million roster and you get bounced early. It's not going to be pleasant times in Columbus.
But we'll see what happens with that in the transfer portal. But I think Air Noland going to I don't know where he's going to go. We'll see. But I think him entering the transfer portal makes sense. Obviously, I think Julian is a leg above him. Tavian's coming in, so that all makes sense. And you're going to have Ohio State bring in, hopefully, a transfer portal quarterback that can compete. Maybe one of the top guys. It would be kind of funny if they went and got the Washington State quarterback after they didn't even try to get Cam Ward.
I think it.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Or did Ryan fuck it up? Because all Ryan had to do was not treat him like a little piece of shit. And maybe Quinn Ewers is the starting quarterback at Ohio State right now. Just travel him instead of a walk-on. That's all you have to do. Maybe put him in the game over a quarterback you told him that would never see the field. And maybe then he's still here. I don't know. Just saying. Ooh, Air Noland to West Virginia. Do you like that? A little rich rod action?
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I'd have to dig into that. I believe Air's from Georgia. So Hayes King, I believe, is in the transfer portal. Maybe a little tech action. Make Chris Drew happy.
Yeah, no, I know who Chris wants for Georgia Tech, and it's not Air Noland.
Who?
I'll give you one guess. Cam Newton 2.0.
Oh,
at least that's what we were told all off season.
Oh, Orgy, yeah.
Yeah, give him Orgy. Yeah, no, it's not Burrow. ZD is referring to Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers might come back. We'll see. But in more news about Notre Dame, we'll get to the Notre Dame part of this, and then we'll get out of here on a nice little Monday. Get us ready for the week. Marcus Freeman signed himself a nice little 4-year extension to make him one of the highest paid coaches in the country. Obviously, it's Notre Dame, so we don't know what that amount is. They don't really tell you. But I'm guessing it's in the $8 to $10 million range.
Only if somebody would have told you that before.
We did. We said that. And I think 4 years is the perfect amount now. It is an extension, so he's got 6 years on his contract now, which does beg the question of what's the buyout, because I love Marcus Freeman. I hope he's successful. I think he's done a great job to this point. I obviously had my issues with him over certain losses, but if it doesn't go well, we've seen this story before. Guy has some success, gets a big extension, doesn't live up to it, and now we got to pay money to get rid of him. And I'm just worried about that.
I don't think Marcus probably would have signed a terrible contract.
No. So, yeah, I don't think so either. I do want to get to the comments here real quick. So Joe Burrow was never an issue at Ohio State. Just so I want to put that to bed. Joe Burrow was good. He got injured. He was never going to beat Dwayne Haskins out. Just to make sure that we keep it 100 on this show. Joe Burrow went down to LSU and had a very mid-year his first year. Dwayne Haskins put up 50 touchdowns and set records in the Big Ten. Like, there was no comparison between the two that first year. Now, yeah, the next year you could have had Joe Burrow, but you had Justin Fields, and he was pretty fucking good too. So I don't think Joe Burrow was an issue. Yeah, rock that red, baby. I love to see it when you cry, because it's going to be a long day for the Fighting Sigs.
Yes.
But it is game week. We got a game in 4 days. I don't know if you guys know that, but we got a game in 4 days. So just give you an idea. Wednesday, I'm going to break down the Notre Dame offense versus the Indiana defense. We'll have that Wednesday go in depth. And then on Friday, we'll break down the Notre Dame defense versus the Indiana offense. Get you guys all ready for the game Friday. Friday's probably going to be heavy on the Notre Dame stuff because it's big. And we're going to go early Friday so that we're done well before kickoff. Give you guys a chance to really fucking get after it and have fun. If you're going to the game, drop us a note. Let us know where you're going to be. But yeah, we'll probably go in the afternoon Friday to get it done early. And then it's going to be fun, man. We're going to talk a lot of Notre Dame this week. Obviously, playoff football is here. If you're out there watching on Twitter or YouTube, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell notifications so that you get a little notification on your device when we go live. We're live 5 days a week at least, typically right around 7:30 Monday through Friday. And then occasionally Saturday. This Saturday we might do a show. I apologize. My voice is really going right now. But if you're on Twitter, hop on over to YouTube, join the chat. We got a lot of great guys in the chat here. And get in here, join the conversation, ask us questions. We can throw them up on screen. Friday, we might do a little, we'll call it a chat segment or something like that, where we can really dive into the chat. But I appreciate everybody tuning in, and go Irish.
Go Irish. And probably Saturday, I think we'll probably sneak in there in between Clemson, Texas, and Ohio State, Tennessee on Saturday.
Yeah. We'll see. Probably right around there. We'll figure it out. But also, we do have a ESPN College Football Playoff Bracket Challenge that is available. It's on the ESPN Fantasy app, ESPN.com. Just search Andre Duke, Carter Smith. It'll pop right up. Password is Laces Out with a capital L 2024. Enter your bracket. You have to enter it before games kick off on Friday, and then shoot me a DM or Duke, or just comment on it. We'll figure it out. But you'll Venmo. It's $20 to enter. Winner takes all, and we'll have you Venmo Richie, who's our money handler.
All right. With that being said, smash the like, hit the subscribe. Everybody out there, have a good night.